The Last Voyage of the Demeter, directed by Andre Overdahl, was released this year, and I have to tell you that when I first heard about it, I was excited. I'm sort of a horror fan as far as the supernatural goes, whether it's vampires or zombies or Bigfoot. It doesn't matter if it's something along those lines, supernatural, especially like demonic possessions like that. I want to see it, and I was excited as soon as I heard it was being made. And unfortunately, it's been in development for a long time and bounced around a little bit. Finally, it was being made, and I remember first time I heard about it, I was actually watching a video on 30 Days a Night. Well, some of the lore in that movie mentioned the vampires from that film ended up in Alaska from a Russian schooner ship, and I'm just thinking like, man, it seems to be a lot of that going around in vampire lore. I know that this was adapted from a single chapter in Bram Stoker's Dracula. You hear that right off the bat. You hear, people trapped on a ship with Dracula. Of course they're going to make that a movie. Let's get right into what I like and what I don't like. First of all, the cast is amazing in this movie. You're basically in a slasher flick with Dracula. You're getting taken out one by one. The cast does a very, very good job with a little bit that they have going for them. Now, Corey Hawkins as Clemens does a great job. There are a lot of scenes where it adds depth to his character, and you don't really need to, but the way that this film goes about it is actually very well done. They still do a very good job of building up that tension of who's next, how are they going to die. A couple of the kills, they go further than I thought that they were going to go. You're introduced to a few characters in the beginning that you're thinking like, wow, like I don't want to see them die. They need to find a way for them to survive, and they don't. It's sad. They don't shy away from it. They go through with it. I didn't expect to feel the way that I felt watching that movie, watching those parts of the movie. You really feel for the characters on the ship. Now, another standout is Liam Cunningham. The guy's a great actor, and you couldn't have chosen a better actor to play the captain of a ship. You just can't. And he even does more with his character, like Corey Hawkins, that you don't expect to build down that kind of depth for the character that you're only going to know for a short time. And another one, David Dastmalchian. This guy cannot miss. And it is nice to see him in a more, I wouldn't say dramatic, but a serious role, because we just saw him as Polka Dot Man, whose character had a lot more depth than we expected it to have. He, again, is great in this film. I can't really complain about the cast at all, other than there are certain characters that the film doesn't spend as much time on. To me, they were a little bit annoying. Like, they spent a little bit too much time on characters that you knew weren't going anywhere. They didn't add to the depth. They didn't add to anything other than padding the runtime, which is about 2 hours on this film. It could have scaled it back a little bit, made it a little bit tighter. At the end of it, I did kind of come out of it feeling like spent more time below deck with them bickering amongst themselves than I really needed to. Now, on to Dracula, they take full advantage of the shadows and darkness in this film, because it is a very dark film. Not just in tone, but like, it's dark. A lot of films would actually suffer from that. When you're watching the movie, you see it's dark, you see that there's a lot of shadows, and Dracula does a very good job of using those shadows to his advantage, but you're not actually seeing what the character sees, if that makes sense. You're seeing it as a film, and you got to realize that it's probably much darker to them than it is to us, because I don't know if I need to remind you just how dark it is out on the seas.
This is what it looks like in the middle of the ocean at night.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. We're watching it through the lens of a film, so we're actually able to see more of it than the characters are. And in that case, it's much more terrifying, especially to them, walking around the ship, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to find this evil. A few of the things didn't quite hit for me. The heavy-handedness on the symbolism of the dragon and the characters in the beginning, sort of, oh, I've seen this symbol before, a lot of, we already know what we're in. You're telling me, or are you telling the characters? Why are you telling the characters any information? Whether they know about the dragon or not, they don't need to know that. And it doesn't tell them really anything at all anyway. It doesn't build suspense for us, because we know what's going to happen. Why have these characters that don't add to it, do such weird things and heavy-handed things to add foreboding to the movie when you don't need it? As far as Dracula itself as a character, I really enjoyed that the woman who added to the lore and kind of explained some of the things to the crew about how he can take the shape of a man when he wanted or needed to. And he didn't need to. He was a weak Dracula, and he fed and he got stronger and stronger, but he never needed to blend in because that wasn't his objective. And it sort of lended to the fact that he is a sentient being who has feelings and emotions, knows what he's doing, and has a thought process, an agenda. And he's not just some mindless creature, some force that's, out for blood. I know some people might have an issue with that. I think the way that he taunts his prey and the way that he smiles and the way that he's enjoying what he's doing lends to the fact that he is an evil, sentient being, and he very much likes to do what he's doing. And to me, that makes it much more terrifying that this character that is hunting you loves it. He loves that you're terrified. And the way that he can make familiars and he can see the ship and hear people, that's awesome, sticking to the Dracula lore and the way he can give scratches and now they're connected. I really, really enjoyed this version of the Dracula character. I especially love, spoiler alert, at the end, the full circle to Nosferatu. How when he gets to London, he has that cane and he has the look of a man, but you can tell that it's not. He's just enough to blend in, but he sort of looks just like the creature that we saw, decades and decades ago, Nosferatu. I like that. It's sort of a callback to the old horror movies of old. I really, really like that, and I like how they tied it together. Overall, I enjoyed this movie. Wasn't perfect by any means. It was fun. I went in it and I got what I wanted out of it. Is it going to win any awards? No. Is it call for a sequel? I would watch that. I would really enjoy that. I would probably give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Pretty good. You can have fun with it. And I think you'll genuinely enjoy this film. But have you seen it already? What'd you think of it? Are you going to go watch it? Tell me what you think in the comments. Till next time, take care of each other.